All right. We ready? Okay. So, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Prompt Me Please. It's your girl Tatiana, also known as the Prompt Coach T. And I just want to say it feels amazing. I am on the last episode of this season of this year. And that feels pretty crazy to say because didn't even know by January 2025 that things will be looking this way like this. And so on this last day of this year, I have been in just a reflective mindset, but filled with so much gratitude. I felt this way literally on Thanksgiving Day. And then, of course, Christmas. I felt grateful. I felt joy. I felt peace. I felt happiness. And then approaching the last day of the year, it has been an amazing, amazing feeling. And I said that I wanted to do my last episode as a solo episode. And just to recap the year, like, oh my goodness. So by the time this come out, it'll be saying Happy New Year, prompt me. But I want to go back down memory lane on how all of this even got started. So I don't have a guest. I don't have a guest with me, but this is what I did do. So, we're in the world of AI, and I went ahead and used one of the AI tools, Claude, and I gave Claude a prompt, and I told Claude to act like he, she, they were my interviewer, because I don't have anybody interviewing me. And Claude gave me about 15 questions. I may go through all of them. I may go through just some, but the point of this episode is to really just stop, pause, reflect, connect, which is the whole identity of my prompt. I'm going to walk you through how Prompt Me even came to be and how we've gotten here and all of the things that we've accomplished. And as an entrepreneur, an up-and-coming small Black-owned business entrepreneur in the wellness category for brands, I am truly, truly grateful, and I'm proud of myself. Like I don't think entrepreneurs, especially the ones starting solo, really stop and just give themselves their own flowers. A part of my episodes, especially when I have guests, I like to give them their flowers on my show, and just, pour into them. But for me to be able to pour into myself and say, girl, you did that. It's an amazing feeling because I'm excited about 2026. I am excited. And so typically towards the end of the year, that October, November, December, that's when things start to slow down a little bit for me, just to consecrate myself, seclude myself, recluse myself, tap in, touch in, check in with God, and just settle myself a little bit more to listen and see what He wants me to do for the upcoming season. And so I'm excited about the shift. I'm excited about the upcoming seasons to come. Prompt Me has some amazing, amazing things in store. I got workshops already for January, February, and March. The team is expanding. I'm happy to say that. And just so many more ideas and greater vision is happening for Prompt Me. Okay. So I started this podcast as an accessory to Prompt Me because it fits under the umbrella of people being able to reflect and connect and share their stories on this platform in hopes that it piques someone's interest to encourage someone, so that whoever I have on the episode, you are able to relate, you are able to connect with that person, see yourself with the story of what has taken place, and then also using that as motivation to elevate, yourself. I do. Before I do anything, I want to thank every single guest that I've had on this podcast. Every single guest. And I really want to give my husband his flowers, because y'all, I be working that man real hard behind the scenes. I love you so much, honey. He was my very first guest on the podcast. I started the podcast in February, but I incorporated Prompt Me in January 25th, 2025. So 1/25/25, I started Prompt Me. I got the business incorporated as an LLC. And then I was like, I'm going to be on camera. I'm going to be in front of the camera. So I invited a guest onto the podcast who I could just be my most authentic self with. And that is my husband, y'all. I love that man. I love that man bad. I love that man so good. He is behind the scenes right now. He's like my podcast technician, engineer. I always tease and call him my IT man. He's been along this journey with me. He will come on the show with me. I think I'm just gonna make it a norm, babe, for you to do February for Valentine's, and then we do a recap of our year anniversary. So he gave a thumbs up. Okay, great. So in February, we talked about our love story and how we even became to be and how we're parents. We have a 5-year-old son who's going to be 6 years old next year. And he is the joy of our lives. He keeps us on our toes. He acts like the little boss man around our house. He overstimulates us because we just allow him to be his authentic self. That's something that we preach to him about as well. And so I'm just truly grateful for my husband, me and my first guest. I'm like, if I can't be myself with nobody else, I know that I can do that with my husband. So shout out to him. And then for every other guest that came after that, I think I have a total of 16 episodes within this year, and I think maybe 2 of them I did by myself. And so the hope and the goal is to be able to do more solo episodes to talk about whatever. And that proves to be a testament to the story that is continuing to be written. And so I want to thank every single guest. I'm not going to name every guest because I don't remember all 16 and I don't want to be stuck. But please tune into the podcast that I have featured on YouTube. You can follow me on all my platforms. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Join the community, become a part of something big and something great that I'm super, super excited. So I guess we could go ahead and get into the questions, huh? All right. So the first question that it asked, it said, when I woke up on January 1st, what did I believe this year would make me? And as I sit here now, what did it actually reveal about who I already was? And when I woke up on January 1st, 2025, I remember writing, I do a virtual vision board every year, and the year is, the mantra is leaving me. It's like maybe the year to just do it, or something about consistency. And I remember writing down, I gave a reflection on what my 2024 looked like. And I started making visions and plans on what I want my 2025 to look like. And so I cup them into categories of being able to take care of myself, uh, my marriage, any type of marriage goals that I may have, any type of motherhood goals that I may have, the business, of course, and then money, like money goals. Because 20, I want to say 2021 to 2024 was a really tough year on our household with our finances. And so I changed the trajectory of what I had, of how I saw myself when it came down to finances. And so I'll say that. And I just had no clue of the work that God would do on me. Like, I love vision boards because it literally is allowing me to write things down and just make it plain. It doesn't even have to be complex. Okay. So actually, I'm gonna pull up my virtual vision board really quickly. So I found my virtual vision board, and it said lock in level 33 because I was turning 33 years old. It says do what you need to do so you can do what you, no, is it do what you need to do? Yeah.
Do what you need to do so you can do what you want to do.
Do what you need to do. Thank you. So you could do what you want to do. And so I created an introduction. Then I had the goal that centered on myself, me, myself, and I. And then I had another goal that said family matters. So that's any type of family goal. Love and marriage, which the goals that I wanted to achieve, just strictly being a wife. And then I have all about the Benjamins. And so last year, I said goodbye 2024 and hello 2025. Last year, I proclaimed 2024 to be the year of expectation, growth in discipline and consistency. I truly thank God for keeping me and carrying me through 2024. It was a tough year. In 2025, I look forward to this year for me to really get focused and locked in on being in my purpose. And I said, let's start. And so I did a reflection and I set some goals on some things that I wanted to do for myself. So I said, meditate, pray more, continue my devotionals, read my Bible, limit social media use, more self-care dates or trips, and read one book a month that stimulate my mind and progress my development. And I said the total books I want to read by December 25th, 2025 are 12, or the minimum would be 12 books, but I want to read 12 books or more. When I tell you literally every single thing that I wrote down for self-care, I was able to achieve. So I could check that off, right? And in terms of like limiting my social media use, I typically only use social media for posting, promotion, like that type of stuff. I have timers on my social media, especially TikTok. Because let me tell you something about TikTok, okay? I love TikTok. I love the comments more in TikTok. TikTok has me laughing a lot. And so it provides that dopamine, right? But I don't want to be that person to be addicted to social media and like keep my cell phone in my hand. So I'm super, super glad about reading because I feel really, really good to be able to put the phone down and pick up a book. Okay, here's a tip for you guys. Pick them books up, okay? Go to your library, get a library card, and get those books. You don't have to buy them and stow them away. No shade, because I have some books on my bookshelf that I have yet to read. But I was running it up at my library. And shout out to my library because they're so convenient. I get to look online for the book. Okay. Put that book on hold for me. I'll be able to come and pick it up. They will text my phone to say, hey, your books are ready for pickup. So sometimes I would check out one book. Sometimes I would check out two books. I've learned that I am a parallel reader. A parallel reader means that I'm simultaneously reading more than one book. I'm not an audiobook reader. I think I'm getting into it towards the tail end of the year, but it's just something about being able to put that book in my face and turn the page. I get to feel the book. I sounded such like a book nerd right now. I get to feel the book. I get to smell the book. I get to close the book, So I really, really enjoy running it up at the library, borrowing books for free. Um, and so I'll also share with you guys some of the things that I've been reading. But I think where my love for books had re-sparked was me reading Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, the book is not a page turner to me because of the language and like how it's written. But oh, trust me, believe me when I say that book woke up. It woke me up. It woke me up by having a desire. Like, you have to have a desire in something before you do anything. And so when I started looking at the word desire and what comes up behind it, and I love that the author of the book, he would just break it down and he would use different type of examples. I loved how he compartmentalized different elements of the book to explain why desire is so important. If you want to be able to live this life that you want to live, you have to have the desire. And where does desire start? It's nothing tangible that you get. It literally starts within you. So some people have like this internal motivation and external motivation, but desire is solely internal motivation, like nobody else. It literally starts with you. And so because I read that book, I finished that book, I took some notes. In that book, I said, "Oh, I want to read more books. I want to read more books that challenges my thinking in regards to how to live life." And so that was the book that started it all. And I still reading books till this day, but I have made reading books such a norm for me now. Like, and it's a part of my routine. Instead of having my phone in my face, I'm reading a book. Until the book is reading me. Okay, moving on. So the next thing was family matters in terms of like family goals. And I wrote down like things that I wanted to do as a family. Go on family dates, spend the holidays in a different state, go to Wisconsin. My husband and I were trying to decide if we even wanted to add to our family, right? And then love and marriage was, let me just say this, as my husband and I have stated it before, marriage is hard work. Marriage is hard work. I'll say it again. Marriage is hard work. And my husband and I next year, we will be celebrating 8 years of being married. And year 7 every year it teaches us more and more and more. But it's just every level we achieve with being married, we are facing something new. Like, I can truly sit here and say year 1, year 2, all of these years of being married, it teaches us different lessons. And so I wrote down goals that I would want to encounter for our marriage. And then, of course, all about the Benjamins. I put on there increasing my network, increasing community. I wanted to attend some real estate investment seminars and learning about trust and learning about wills, having PromptMe become an LLC, having paid professional and personal development workshops and sessions, adopt a mentor or a coach to hold me accountable with this journey. And then, of course, saving some additional money for the emergency fund. And when I look back on that goal, I literally checked every single box, right? And so what I want to say is that all of these goals that I had written down, I achieved some and I achieved none. But I also looked at what played a factor into me achieving these particular goals and not these. And so it was a truly big reflective moment for me. And speaking of vision board, to celebrate PromptMe's 1 year anniversary, I'm going to have a virtual vision board experience where that's where Prompt Me got started. I was doing Empower Hours. And Empower Hours were basically I would I would go live on Facebook. I never did Instagram or TikTok, but I would go live on Facebook and I would talk to the community, just giving them some empowerment, some motivation, giving them some journal prompts, giving them challenges that they can do. So that's how it got started. I think I did about 3 of them. And then I'm like, okay, I'm ready to be in person. I got super excited, but that's what the year revealed to me. And it said, tell me about a moment this year when you surprised yourself, when you acted in a way that felt both unfamiliar and deeply true. And I want to say by doing this podcast, because let me tell you, doing a podcast, the way that I'm doing it and how Prompt Me even came to be, I always like to say it was not on my bingo card. It was not on my bingo card, y'all. I literally thought Prompt Me was going to be a faceless platform where I would still give you encouraging, motivating prompts. I was going to give you journal prompts, affirmations, but you weren't going to see my face and hear my voice. That was not a part of the plan, but thank God that he convicted me so. And Prompt Me began to elevate after that, because truth be told, it is a slow climb trying to do faceless content. It seems easy, but it can be very difficult and very slow paced. So I'm glad that I listened to that little still small voice and the many different signs that he sent to me over time to say, daughter, yeah, that voice of yours and that face of yours, they need to see it. They need to see it. And so that really surprised me because this was not a part of the plan. It was God's plan. Okay. What's a disappointment from this year that you haven't fully spoken out loud yet? Not to relive it, but to finally give it language and let it breathe. A disappointment? Oh, well, I can the financial management, the balance of it all, starting out by yourself can be very discouraging. And so not being able to meet certain quotes, not being able to obtain certain things because you're a brand new company and you don't even have the amount of revenue. Like I was looking into grants, and like being able to obtain different like additional resources, but because you're new, people can't really vouch for you and don't know what you're doing just yet. So it also can play a factor in delayed gratification. Where did you abandon yourself this year? And more importantly, when did you find your way back? Ooh, that's good. That's so good. Where I abandoned myself this year, I can say, being, well, what I was going to say is when I think back to my vision board, where I lacked in achieving goals was being a wife and a mom, because I was pouring my everything into Prompt Me in the very beginning. So I felt like my husband and I weren't connecting as much as we should have. And things to do with Micah was not frequent like it should have, because I was going nonstop with getting Prompt Me off of the ground. But I will say that I did not feel bad, because my husband didn't make me feel bad about it. My son didn't make me feel bad about it. They were actually very much in support. But towards the tail end of the year, we're finding our way back to it. So I will say that that could be an example, because me abandoning just myself, it didn't happen. It didn't happen because the things that I was speaking about on my platform, I actually had to live it. So I lived the life of mindfulness. I lived the life of self-care. I lived the life of journaling. And so all of those things helped me pour into myself. But in order for me to pour into myself, I had to neglect some other things. So I hope that helps with how that question was answered. Describe a professional win that looked small to everyone else but felt great or big to you. What made it matter so much? The professional win that I want to say that looks small, that may look small to everybody else, but it was huge to me, was my very first self-love Saturday workshop. I want to give a huge shout out to all of my close friends and family that supported me in that event. And so let me tell y'all a story. Let me back up a little bit. Let me back up, because remember I told you guys that I started my going from faceless to face with my Empower Hours in shoot, when was this, babe? You remember? Was it March? Maybe like March or April, maybe.
Yeah.
And I remember doing a couple of those, and that felt great. But I had to think outside of the box, because I was like, where is the N for Prompt Me? And so I specifically remember, I have a text message. I screenshotted it, but I would just have to scroll up. I text my best friend Victoria, who was on the podcast, and because she curates events as well, and I always like to ask, like, my close ones, I love to ask them their opinions, because I may be thinking a thing, but I like to put it out there. So like, I have my own little advisory board of friends. But these people in my life, they will tell me, like, it's so unbiased, and that's what I love about it, because they gonna tell me the truth, but I know that it's coming from a place of love. So if she like, girl, no. Like, if she would have said that, I wouldn't have felt the way, because she knows me, she knows my heart, she knows my goals, she knows the look. So I trust her judgment. So I remember texting her, telling her, I said, hey, Vic, you know how I do the Empower Hours? I said, what if I create my own in-person Empower Hour, and I would charge tickets like $12 or $15, and have people come out to journal. And so she was like, I think that's an amazing idea. She was like, you could even curate the event to like have a DJ or collab with somebody else. She was like, but yeah, she was like, promote it, put it on TikTok, blah blah blah. So I was like, okay, cool. So I was trying to figure out, like, how do I even go about, doing this? Because I would have to, this is me. This is what I thought as a visionary. I was like, I would have to create my own event, invite people to it, hire a photographer, a videographer, so that I can promote what I do out on these social media platforms. And I did just that. So literally, my first Self-Love Saturday workshop was September 13th, 2025. And I had 15 ladies come out to do the thing with me. And I've done 3 more after that, and then I'll be doing one once a month in 2026. But it all started with that idea. What encouraged me even more, I had another guest on the podcast, Tivuna. Tivuna promoted an event on Instagram. It was called like an Afro yoga event, and it was up north, like at Montrose Beach or something like that. And one of my other good friends, we just love doing stuff like that, like meditation, sound baths, all of that. And so I had my friend come with me to Tivuna's event. And so while we're headed to walking, in the sand, it's beautiful. But I'm seeing other women of color also joining this event. And they knew about the event through just promotion on social media. And the other thing that I loved about Tivul Nas, after you express interest into going to her event, she's hitting you up in the DM with, this joyous and this soulful and this chill, Like if you watch the episode, this is her energy, but I felt her energy through the DM. She like, hello, my sister, yes, thank you for expressing interest. And she said, can I ask you a question? She like, what made you even, want to join this event in the first place? And so I'm messaging her back. And so she was like, here's the link to, buy a ticket. And so I bought me and my friend a ticket, and just being able to see other women of color get up at like 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, and trust and know other people were also up, at the beach, running, exercising, doing their own thing. And I'm not going to say I was amazed by that, but it was just like, dang, other people are up too. But just seeing the women come together, and we all had one goal, like to come to this event, that motivated me. I said, oh, women want community. I said, we want to gather, and we love to come together for an event. And so that motivated me even more to do my own thing with Prompt Me and with the Self-Love Saturday workshop. So shout out to Tivul Na for that. And I told her that too. I was like, it was your event, that motivated me to be able to do my own thing. So it was a small win to everybody else, but it was huge to me because that's what elevated Prompt Me. So it was like, I did this workshop, I did this thing, these women came, I got testimonials from the women. I'm giving y'all game. Like, this is how Prompt Me Self-Love Saturday workshops even came to be. So who saw you this year in a way that changed how you see yourself? And what did they reflect back to you? Number one, my marriage. Because your marriage is a true reflection. Like, it's your partner holding a mirror up to you, and vice versa. Also, I will say my own son. Man, how I changed my temperature with him, and how I had more patience, and I had to change the language and how I spoke to him or how I approached him on certain different things. So it really started with my own household and the very own men that I have in my life. And I remember, some tough conversations that I would have with my husband. And I remember one day this summer, he told me, he said, when did you become so wise? And it made me smirk, but I'm just like, that was confirmation for me that I was doing the work. So all of these different books that I'm reading, and I'm taking notes, and I'm just not taking in the information. I'm taking what speaks the loudest to me so that I can apply it in life, somewhere else. So that was really, really good. The next question said, what pattern or belief system did you finally break up with this year? And what's trying to grow in that newly cleared space? This is such a good question, because the belief system of the imposter syndrome is so real. I'm going to just let that marinate. The imposter syndrome. Oh my gosh. It's just like, why is that thing created? Because it can be such a challenge and a hindrance to what God has called you to do. Point blank, period. That's just as simple, because it all starts in the mind. Like, a lot of times you don't see it because you're in it, but it all starts with your mind. How you see yourself, how you talk to yourself, how you treat yourself. What? Because how you treat yourself, how you think of yourself is how you return that to other people. And so the most powerful thing that I'm learning and I'm unlearning is the way that I would love myself conditionally. Oh, you can have that if you do this. Or that's yours if, all you got to do is, no, you don't deserve that. Like different things that you tell yourself in your mind, it's literally like you're doing yourself a disservice. So there is a podcast that I like to watch, Keep It Positive, Sweetie by Crystal Renee, and I believe she had Pastor Sarah Jakes Roberts on there, and I love Crystal Renee's podcast, number one, but hearing Pastor Sarah Jakes on there talk about her journey, womanhood, and they talked about invincibility. And I love the fact that Pastor Sarah Jakes Roberts said she truly believed that she could do anything that she wants to do. She was like, it may take me a while to get there. I may struggle with it in the beginning, but I'm going to do it. And that stuck with me because I said, man, if she has such great belief in herself with that, I can have that too. And so there have been a lot of things that I hindered myself on, but I'm unlearning because now I'm learning to love myself unconditionally so that I can love others unconditionally the way that God loves me unconditionally and undoing the things that I used to do. So what's trying to grow in that newly cleared space, it's what I feel I'm carrying into 2026. And I said in 2026, I'm not shrinking for anybody. I am walking in my authenticity. I'm walking in my truth. I'm being who I am. I'm speaking on what I do. I said what I said. Like it feels like that for me because for a long time, I felt like I shrunk and I surrounded myself around other people that really didn't see me and really didn't know me. And I didn't like feeling that way. So if your 30-year-old self could whisper one truth to your 29-year-old self, what would she say? And I actually have a story for this too, because this is crazy that this even posed this question like this. And I didn't even know. But how about, so my morning mindfulness routine is when I wake up, I don't try to look at my phone. I at least try to give it an hour before I look at my phone, handle anything business wise, or, get on social media. And so I now do this thing called morning pages. And morning pages is also known as like the artist's way or stream of consciousness. But basically, it's a way for you to be mindful in the mornings. Being mindful in the mornings for me looks like talking about journaling, what I have to do in the day, what happened yesterday, how I'm feeling right now, in the present, all the things. And then every month I post a monthly journal prompt calendar. So whenever I want to expound on what I'm writing about in my morning pages, I will answer a prompt of the day. So yesterday was it yesterday? Yes, yesterday I did not do morning pages. So sidebar, if I don't do morning pages, I'll do evening pages. And evening pages is before you go to bed, journal about your day. And so I specifically remember when I was doing evening pages yesterday and I was journaling about my day. I had mentioned that I wanted to look at the other journals that I've had. Mind you, I have journals dating all the way back to 2003. So I've been journaling for over 20 years. Crazy. Yeah, I'm that girl. I do that. But nonetheless, I said that I wanted to look at my other journals to see where was I, around this time and this season in this headspace. So I have a total of 10 types of journals. It includes a mindfulness journal. I have like 2 or 3 devotional journals. I have a self-love journal. I have a journal from college. I have a journal from middle school. I have a journal from my adulthood, right? So these are a span of different journals. I write because writing is healing. And when you put that pen to that paper, I don't know, it's just a different feeling for me. But nonetheless, after I did my evening pages, what do? I go ahead and look in all of these other different journals. So, in particular, to if your 30-year-old self could whisper one truth to your 29-year-old self, how about in one of my devotional journals, my 31-year-old self was talking to my 33-year-old self. Y'all, I could have cried. I could have broke down because I was just like, Lord, you never cease to amaze me, because I felt that inkling while I'm journaling. I wonder where I was, around this time a year or two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years ago. Where was I and what was I doing? What type of headspace was I in? But the one that stood out to me the most was my 33-year-old self would thank my 31-year-old self by saying, girl, how did you know? I was writing things about what I wanted God to teach me, what I wanted him to guide me on, what were some things on my heart, what were some things that I was grateful for, what were my prayer requests, what were some things that stood out, during that week. And what I loved about the journal, was a gift to me. And it really, really like compartmentalized journaling for me. It had a scripture, a journal prompt, what you showing gratitude for. And I would do this every week. And the things that I would say of what I wanted to be taught, what was on my heart, what I wanted God to guide me on, living manifestation of that today as a 33-year-old. I could have cried. I was like, oh my goodness, girl, you talking like this. Like you just knew this was what you needed in order to become that. And so I have things written down like, teach me how to soften my heart towards my husband or towards my son or towards my friends. I want to be able to discern who is for me and who's not for me. I want to get this podcast up and going. I'm telling y'all, this was 2 years ago. And so I'm just like, God doing all of this in just 2 years or even less than that. Oh my goodness, he's going to blow my mind in 2026. Like, I already know that. I already feel that. And it got me excited about that. And so that was just flat out confirmation for me to keep writing. So y'all know, like with the podcast, I just be like, keep journaling, keep manifesting, keep dreaming, keep. Yeah, I'm going to keep doing that because I'm reaping the harvest that God promised me. So I feel that 100% to be true. So I'm like, not what did my 30-year-old self tell my 29-year-old self? What did my 33-year-old self say to my 31? And I want to say thank you. Where did you experience the most genuine connection this year, and what conditions allowed that to happen? So I like to say that summer 2025, I'm still grieving. I'm like, that is something that I really don't want to leave, but I know I have to. Gotta go, gotta leave. But summer 2025 was so good to me because I spent a lot of time with nature. I was by water. I was going on walks. I was in my sunroom a lot. I grounded a lot. I was reading in my sunroom. I would just sit in the sun. I was doing yoga, meditation. It was so good. It was so good. And the flexibility of my schedule. And in the summer for sure, there were two different tracks or like pathways that I would walk either in the morning or the afternoon, and just having that be a part of my routine and my movement. I think it also did so well for my body too, because with the episode with Tibble, I talked about having a terrible sciatic pain. And I was like, that is something that I never want to feel ever again. And so I really started to get in tune with yoga, and just stretching and making sure I move my body consistently so that I wouldn't feel that pain again. And it has done my body so good and wonders. Oh my goodness, summer 2025 was good to me. So, this question says, your podcast is an act of creation, of putting your voice into the world. What did your voice teach you this year that surprised you? Getting the feedback from the people that watch the podcast. I thought it was pretty dope, because I listen to a lot of podcasts myself. And I know there are people out here with different intentions and motives with their podcast, but I was just showing up as authentically as I could. And so to be able to have guests on the show in alignment with the yes that they had given and what they shared on the story or on the podcast episode, I know that that was God. And there were people, like, how can I say it? I wasn't just having anybody on this podcast, and I'm still not. Let's be clear. I'm not just having anybody on the podcast. I move with good intentions, great intentions, because it's important. I'm like, whoever I have on this couch, whether it's just me or someone else, like, there is someone else watching that I could reach. And when I reach them, what are they getting from this, platform? And that matters to me because that's my name and my reputation. And that matters to me a lot. So the feedback that I would get from family, from friends, from random people that would have comments, everything has been so encouraging, motivating. And people like, yeah, I see you, or like, duh, this makes sense. And I'm looking forward to seeing the next episode. And oh my goodness, I can't wait. And the support has been nonstop and very much like in a good volume. So yeah, I would say that. The next question, it says, what's something you created, tangible or intangible, that you're proud of, even if no one else witnessed it? My e-journal. I don't even promote it enough. I'm going to be honest. I'm working on the sales part. But my e-journal, I made a 7-day What's True for You, pause, reflect, and connect e-journal. And how that even came to be was me having something tangible that spoke to the work that I do in regards to PromptMe. So I sell it on Etsy. It's still out to be sold. I gift it to some people as well. And I'm super proud of it because here's the thing. I remember working on it in my library. I was working on it, tapping into my creative or whatever. And I want to say it took me about a week. Like, I didn't do it in one sitting, but I was determined to get it done in a good way. And I remember working in the library, and two ladies, they walked past me, and one of them asked me if I was like a graphic designer. And I was like, oh no. And then she walked off and she was like, girl, you have no idea who you talking to. And I was like, wait a minute, come back. And so we started following each other on social media. But I felt like by her saying that to me was a compliment because it caught her eye as to what I was working on. And so if you bought my e-journal, I need you to let me know in the comments or give me a review on Etsy and let me know how it is. But I'm super proud of it because that was a very intentional thing that I wanted to do. It talks about like, how do you walk in your authentic truth? How do you honor your own voice? How do you listen with intent? And so all of these little different tools and nuggets to find out, how you are able to walk in your truth and just be who you are, which is what my platform encourages and stands for. If this year was a chapter title in your memoir, what would you call it? And what's the opening line of the next chapter? If 2025 was a chapter title in my memoir, I would call this year the rebirth, the rebirth of, or the awakening of me. Like every time I think about it, I just sigh because I was very much intentional with how I wanted to take care of myself. And I wrote that down 2 years ago. I wanted to be more intentional with self-care. And so I take myself on dates and I love being my own company. A lot of times, well, I'll just speak for me. A lot of times I did not do things by myself, going to the movies by myself, going out to eat by myself, just going to the bar to have a cocktail, just anything. I didn't do it by myself. I was just always surrounded by people. And of course, being a new mom, I took my son everywhere with me, or we took our son everywhere with us. So the rebirth or the awakening of me is what I would call it. Like I said, summer 2025 was so good to me. I really took care of myself, my mental health. I reinvested in therapy. So I do therapy once a month. I adopted a life coach, and how we met, it was so divine. And we live parallel lives. Shout out to her, Coach Mac, Coach Lady Mac. But how we met, I was telling an aunt of mine who was coming in for a visit. This is my aunt's best friend. So, like how your aunties got best friends and they become your aunties. Yeah. So I was talking to my aunt about my platform, and she was like, I know the perfect person who you could speak to. And I was like, really? She was like, yeah. And so she called her. She picked up. We started talking, and then we talked on the phone, and we were on the phone for over an hour, our first time, talking to each other outside of the introduction. And how about every time when I talk to my life coach, we're on the phone for over an hour. I'm like, this is just a standard. And I love her so much, though, because she speaks from a place of wisdom and great intention. And I said, thank you, Lord, for sending her into my life, because I was on a search for looking for one, but the divine alignment was my auntie saying, I know the perfect person who you need to speak to. So that was really, really great. And then the last question says, as you step into 2026, oh no, wait, what's the opening line of the next chapter? The opening line of the next chapter, the mantra that I'm taking with me, I said, this is the year of moving with, what did I say? Divine intention and great expectation in 2026. As I step into 2026 was one permission slip I'm writing for myself that I've been too afraid to sign. And I vocalized it before, but that's shrinking for other people. I just can't do it. It's just like, once you know better, you do better. And so understanding that if I shrink, I'm doing myself a disservice, and I just can't do that. I just can't. I just can't even imagine. And so people will see, a different side of me, but in a good way, because I'm growing. I'm still doing the work, but I've done enough work to know that elevation is calling me, and it's time to go higher, to the next level, and to grow. And if I shrink myself, I'm only doing myself this disservice, and I'm delaying what God has in store for me. And so I'm walking into this calling. I'm walking into the spirit of obedience. I'm learning submission all over again, and what that looks like on a heightened level. And it feels good. If how I know it to be true, because it feels good. And when other people can see it and compliment it, you're on the right track. Okay. So this was a great conversation. Please look forward to more solo episodes with your girl, the Prompt Coach T. What's up? What it is? What it do? You know, I like saying that. Tivuna, she teases me about that as well. But this is the last episode of 2025. I look forward to more episodes, newer guests, new reaches, higher platforms, being featured on other people's podcasts for my expertise with journaling, mindfulness, and meditation, and self love and self care, and good mental health and what that looks like. I want to say thank you again to every single guest that I've had on this podcast. I want to say thank you to every single person that has supported, whether that was a like, that was a subscribe, that was a comment, it was a reshare or a repost, or just a word of mouth of you telling someone else about what Prompt Me got going on. Stay tuned for more workshops coming your way. I'll be popping up over all over the Chicagoland area. And who knows, I may be coming to a city near you, baby. Don't count me out. Listen, because it's going up and it's going to be stuck for a while. Okay. But I'm super, super excited about what God has in store. So as I always close, thank you so much for watching. Leave me a comment and say self-love, and tell me how you showed yourself love in this year. And what are you saying goodbye to in 2025? What are you saying hello to in 2026? So keep dreaming, keep manifesting, keep growing, keep showing up, stay consistent, don't give up, keep journaling, keep manifesting, all great things. I love you. And there's nothing that you can do about it. Until next time, I'll see you on the next episode. Bye. Happy New Year.